Hey guys, how are you doing? I hope all is well. Listen, I'm just coming before you today because I really need to speak to you about a few things about where God has me at today. And it has been going forthcoming for a while now. Most of you know that I do minister the word of the Lord. And there's so much to me that comes along with that, because that's not who I've always been, a woman of God. I have a message, and I've always said I'm going to keep it real, keep it raw. And that was birthed out of my pain. I was going through so much. And I asked God, what did He want me to do with all that stuff? You see, it was at a time in my life when I was going through a divorce. I had lost every single thing just about. I had to move out of my house. Eventually, Safe Harbor was my first ministry that I gave birth to, which I love. Community-based organization. I had 24-hour child care center, feeding the homeless and the children in a community. I mean, it was so much of my passion. And things just started to dwindle down. I remember it was 2008, around that time. But everything just seemed to dissipate. It was like my whole world was coming to an end. Can I keep it real and transparent? So I remember going to God. I said, what do you want me to do with all this pain? And He said, I want you to turn your pain into power. And that was around that time. I got the message. It was around 1999. I remember writing down, turn your pain into power. And I told a friend of mine what God had given me. She's no longer here. She was murdered by her husband. But I told her, and we went to church that Sunday, and pastor was preaching, walking in the mighty, turn your pain into power. And I was rejoicing because I knew I had heard from God. I knew that this message had come from the throne room of God. But it was thereafter, because I had already been through so many other things, that I began to focus on that message. I had a conference following thereafter, and God just continued to work on me in my process of turning my pain to power. And I remember just going through so much, and I asked God, I said, listen, I don't even want to be here anymore. Can I be transparent with you? I said, listen, take me up or take me out, because I was just tired of the stuff. Have you ever been tired of the stuff? The hurt, the pain. People not only backstabbing you, but front stabbing you. So much trauma. And I know I had made major decisions in my life that caused me to hurt myself. Because you ever heard God say, no, that's not it, but you want to go and do it anyway? Well, that was my story. So there was a consequence for my actions. I mean, big time. I loved somebody, but they couldn't love me because they didn't have it in them to give me what I needed. And trust me, I worked so hard for that love, but it was like trying to get a cup of water, or even a little drop out of a rock. And how many of you know you just can't get water out of a rock? So I ended up having to walk away from everything. And I know today, can I be so transparent with you? If I was able to walk away from that, I could walk away from anything. Because I just love that person. I cannot tell you, I love that person so much more that they were way up there in a place where they shouldn't have been. So I had to go through a process of dethroning my King Isaiah and everything that I placed before the Lord. Can I tell you, I'm still at that place that is not there, but in another place where I have to die to myself in order to be with God and who He has called me to be. See, my life has been nothing but a life of transformation, going through my process. But there's so much more to me than what you see. There's a person in me who desires to be nothing but transparent. I'm called to preach the gospel, but that's not all. I'm called to deal with the ugly stuff. You may not be my tribe. You may not be the people that I'm called to minister to, but I know you're out there. I know that you're out there. And it is time to deal, and to heal. So many people hurting in the body of Christ. And we have not begun to scratch the surface of their pain. Because we have not dealt with our own. And God took me to that process as well. The trauma, the abuse, the incest, all that goes on behind closed doors. We must deal with it. And that's what I'm called to do. And I actually get excited because when I'm talking about it, because I know I'm in a zone. You see, God has allowed me to go through so much pain. I am talking about the pain of rejection. I'm talking about somebody that you love so much, but they could never give you what you need. I'm talking about the embarrassment and the shame and the humiliation of being a full-grown woman, beautiful on the outside, but having a little girl that's crying on the inside because she never dealt with the trauma. Got baptized. And when I went home, the enemy was on my tracks. He said, you could never be what God wants you to be. I called my friend who ministered to me at that time. I said, Linda, is this real? She said, oh, that's nothing but the devil. But can I tell you, I got baptized, but there was still work that I needed to do because the enemy reminded me of all the things that I had done. But what he forgot to say is, I did some things to you that will put you on the road of self-destructive behaviors. And yes, I had done those things, but I had opened doors which gave the enemy access to me as a little girl, starting off with rejection and being promiscuous. Pregnant at an early age, 12 going on 13. Not able to read well. The shame and the guilt. Going up to that board And the teacher calling my name and being laughed at. And not feeling loved. So I just wanted to be loved and feel loved. I ended up getting pregnant. And I had my son, and I said, you know what? I'm going to give him what I didn't get. Young teenage mother. It's all in my book. And the enemy reminded me of all the things that I had done. When finally, after going through relationships and drugs, starting off with marijuana, drinking beers, a couple pills here and there, lacing the marijuana, we called it joint back then, dipping it in beer, letting it dry. All those things. Graduating, sniffing coke, moving on to crack cocaine. Can I just be transparent with you today? Because, listen, I call myself like, listen, getting ready to paint a couple little things and do a couple little odds and ends around the house. I just sit down to write a video. And if I want to be transparent, guys, I got to be transparent. It has been one heck of a journey. So when finally putting all those things down, not using the drugs, the alcohol, not covering up my outside, because Lord knows I love fashion. But having to go on the inside, knowing that there was still work that I needed to do after I got baptized. Because first of all, I had to ask God. I said, are demons real? And it was so prevalent that there were driving forces that was scheduled for me to go on that road of self-destructive behaviors that was waiting for me at an early age, because I've always prayed. So after masking all my pain with the stuff, I felt it necessary. At least I died in that state of hopelessness. At least I died in the state of hopelessness and torment and shame and guilt and remorse. Can I tell you that God connected me with people, two people in particular. Dr. Brenda Chandler, who taught me how to go to the root cause of my pain, the importance of journaling. See, I had a 4th grade reading level in my 20s. So she told me, listen, I would go see her, and I would go to counseling, and didn't even have to pay her. She said, if you have something, leave it on the table. If you don't worry about it. She said, because I'm going to teach you how to help other individuals. That's turning my pain to power, right? And Dr. Winston Collins, who later became my mentor for my master's degree. God put people in my life to assist me with my journey. Well, what a journey it has been. Then later he said, I want you to write a book. And people were prophesying. I'm like, me write a book? How can I write a book? Can't do that. I even paid someone. And she ended up taking my money, so had to go through the process because I had already journaled things down. She was editing and everything for me. God put people in my life to assist me with that process as well. But I had to learn how to write my own book. Had to learn how to self-publish. Because what I didn't know is that God would take me through a process. Because I later became a therapist. And I understood the importance to getting to the root cause of my pain. And I really believe that that is the problem with a lot of people today. Because when we get out there in the spotlights and we haven't dealt with our stuff, the enemy loves unresolved trauma. And I think that that's what's going on in the world today. So many people are not dealing with their stuff, especially leaders and in the church. I'm going to get ready to get off, and I'll come back at another time. But have you seen the movie? I'm going to call it The Straw That Broke the Camel's Back. I have been through so much. But I thank God. Not tears of sadness, but I'm so grateful. Because so many people died. But I'm still here. And I have a message. God showed me something years ago. He first had me to write the book. And it deals with dealing with traumatic issues. So I wrote my first book, a therapeutic book. I called it a workbook, but I know and have known that it's a therapeutic book. It's a painful process that we must journey to go and turn face to face to our pain. And that was first created. Then he had me write the next book as a result of traveling to my pain. See, my pain had to pay me back. And even by talking to other individuals, I don't care what you have gone through, please don't stay there in bondage. God showed me a photo of myself like a vision with the chains on. This is the book where I was in bondage. This was over 20-something years ago, and then that I would be free. This is my life story. And if any of you guys have written this book, I want you to comment on it. So many people say that they can relate. If you have a family member who's in bondage, please have them to read this book or inbox me. I've created also, this was my first book. This helps you go to the root cause of your pain and assist you with turning your pain to power. And lastly, I just want to let you guys know that this right here, inside of this book, there's a story, a movie that came out, and I'm going to call it The Straw That Broke the Camel's Back. I'm going to name it that, but that's not the name because I don't want to infringe on anybody else's stuff. But several years ago, I wrote this book, and there's a section in here that's called My Deep Dark Night. And it talks about that night. It's a long, dark night that I went through where I lost just about everything. And even to the point where I lost my mind. Or either was snatched away. You be the presenter of that fact once you read the story. You tell me what happened, because I sort of figure I know what happened. But listen, that's only one section in this book. But God took me on a journey. And for those who want to go on a journey to really be healed, delivered, and set free, where we can shut doors, where we have generational curses coming through, it's time for us to be real, to feel, to do, and to heal. So that the children and our grandchildren won't face the same things because we choose to ignore them. That's my prayer for each and every one of you, that we continue, that we'll be transparent. You see, because a lot of people don't want you to poke at their pain. And the enemy would love to keep you in bondage and keep your children in bondage and your grandchildren in bondage. A lot of stuff that I've gone through because I had to close doors. Still closing doors. But I pray that you'll be real about your process, and let's deal with some things that has been secretly dealing with you. You know, I tend to ask the question, are you tired of suffering in silence? I don't know about you, but there's another phase of my life that came through that must be exposed. I've written the story. My life is in a series in my books. I have series 1 that I just showed you. I have 2 more books coming out, and Lord knows it's been quite a journey. But I'm here to assist each and every one of you that want to go through your process. You can inbox me. You don't have to suffer in silence. God has told me to come forth. I am looking a whole hot mess today, because this is about as real and raw as it can be. It's time to turn our pain into power. It's time for you and I to make those things pay us back. I look at it like this: whatever I've gone through, it can help someone else. It's time to expose the enemy. Time to remove the gag orders. It's time to be transparent. Expose those things that have been so secretly tucked away. God bless each and every one of you. I'll see you soon. God bless you.